Ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. Hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. I'ma rep my city and salute my town. Said ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. I'ma hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. And I'm ready for whatever, and I still stand proud. Ain't no.
So
No.
So I got a question for you before you even start.
Okay.
What does Knoxville, Tennessee, hell have in common? Exactly. I knew you was gonna say one thing. I'm gonna cut you off and tell you. It's the big red machine.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I should have said Glenn Jacobs or Kane, but the big red machine is both of them. So there you go.
Exactly.
That's a good one. I like that. I had to hit the little, I don't know, it's on fire now, but I was trying to say too
I will edit fire in for you. Don't worry about
it. What's the his theme song? That is his best one, Slow Chemical. It starts with the wonder of the world is gone now. Oh my gosh, dude. Kane. As most of y'all know, we're talking about Kane today. The big red machine, the 323-pound, 7 foot, I believe. Tall man. I know he's 323 though. I know that for a fact because I've watched so many of his matches. I hear it. That's the one thing I listen to. But
oh
yeah,
my God. I just thought about it. I am gonna it's gonna probably be on this side. It's gonna be a picture of Kane and my daughter.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be right here, right now, too. Right here, right now.
Yes.
But as most of y'all know, we're talking about Kane. This is the B&B Show. I am the Blade, that is the Bear, and this is the Big Red Machine. Kane, I'm just gonna start out with saying this right now. When I was a child, Kane was my favorite wrestler, easily. No, there's no. You can go ask my mother, you can ask my siblings, you can ask anybody. Kane was my favorite wrestler. I loved Kane so much. I was such a big fan of his. He had that, he was tall, he had like the scary aura, of him. And then when he came back with his mask in like 2011, he just looked so. He came out with he had the mask, but then he came out with the mask over it. You remember?
Yeah.
I was such a big fan of Kane. Kane will always have a special place in my heart because of everything that he's done and how unique and different he was. He was dark like the Undertaker, but he was more demonic in the sense. Like instead of the black figure, he was the red figure, and the fire, instead of the ghost and smoke, it was. Oh man, I was such a fan of the red and the fire and the mask, and he was so cool, man.
I couldn't believe how they made Kane so sympathetic. This big giant monster, I felt sorry for, and I could never understand how I could do that.
Yeah. Okay, that real quick. I'm just going to say this. We're not talking about corporate Kane.
No.
We're not. I refuse to talk about corporate Kane because who wants to talk about corporate Kane?
Bad time in wrestling.
Yeah.
Bad time in wrestling.
Yeah, especially when him and Big Show dominated 2015 Royal Rumble. We're not going to talk about that.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah, exactly. Kane, though, he's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. Bear has met Kane. I adored Kane, and Kane has gone through a lot. He's won championships after belts. He's had the tag team titles before. He was in Team Hell No, which was honestly, I didn't think it would work, but it was honestly kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
Intercontinental champion.
I mean, yeah, he has done it all. My favorite team though with him will always be him and RVD. I loved him and RVD. I'm a big fan of RVD. I'm a big fan of Rob Van Dam. He's one of a kind. And the match where Kane was forced by Eric Bischoff to take off his
Take the
mask.
mask.
Oh my gosh. That was so like uh um and then when he became, you didn't think he could get any scarier, but he got more scary when he took off the mask and the shirt and he just had the pants and or when he had no mask and he had the shirt, but he had the towel on his head.
Yeah.
Or he came out in handcuffs that one time. It's just so many moments with Kane that were just like, wow.
Oh, you can't forget the Hurricanes.
Oh, God.
Look, I love that tag team, man. Yeah, it was short lived, but I loved it.
Hey,
and hey,
stand back. There's a hurricane coming.
and then we can't forget X-Pac and Kane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kane is teamed with a lot of people. I mean, we haven't even said it. The Brothers of Destruction.
Oh,
I mean, come on now. But Kane has, man, there's so much. I mean, Kane has done so much for the business. He has brought so much. And I actually saw an action figure the other day of Kane with his red cape.
oh, wow.
Yeah. And they still have, I could still go get it. I probably should because of how rare that, I don't know how rare that is, but I know how rare the cape on Kane is.
Yeah, definitely.
For a lot of people that don't know about that, Kane actually was supposed to have a cape and he actually had it for one time. And it actually looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But Kane's debut, officially he came out during the Undertaker match with the Cell and he literally broke the door off. And everybody's like, what in the hell? But Kane before Kane was Glenn Jacobs. Well, he is Glenn Jacobs. At one point, he was Fake Diesel. At one point, he was the dentist.
Isaac Yankum.
And I believe he also wrestled at Smoky Mountain.
Yes, he did. He actually, fun fact that the first time Kane took on The Undertaker was Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Here, Kane was Unabomber, and his tag team partner was Al Snow. They were, I can't remember their tag team names, but they were here, and it was, if I remember right, the Super Bowl of wrestling event, and Vince McMahon let The Undertaker and Paul Bearer come down to wrestle. And that was their first match together. And another little fun fact that a lot of people may not know, Kane actually even wrestled for WCW. So
I'm not gonna lie, I think I knew that, but remind my memory again.
I can't remember his name, but he was a jobber. And he was, I think he mostly wrestled on WCW Saturday morning wrestling show.
Okay.
But yeah, he started there. Man, a lot of people don't understand where Kane did a lot of different wrestling. He earned his spot. A lot of times we talk about different wrestlers and not going independent route and stuff. Kane was not one of them. He went just like The Undertaker. A lot of people don't know The Undertaker actually wrestled in WCW and actually wrestled on a pay-per-view. Took in on Lex Luger for the United States title. So Kane has put in his time and bring it back to present time. Glenn Jacobs and Dr. Tom Pritchard has a wrestling school here in East Tennessee that by the time this is out, we're pre-recording this, so it's going to be in April. They're having a wrestling school. and they're doing free seminars. And man, he does a lot for the community and different things. Now, I would be lying to say me and him politic wise gel, but I would never take away the fact that he definitely gives back to the community. He definitely gives back to wrestling. He's a very nice man. I've met him before, and it's very pleasant.
Yeah, Kane, Kane, follow him online, and he's doing great things. I see with Knoxville, I believe. I mean, everybody enjoys him. He's actually, it's just so weird seeing him, with the suit on and talking all nice and stuff when I know him as, you know, the the big red machine. But Kane, like one of my favorite times was like I believe it was Kane versus Randy Orton, and it was the last match. I think I may be mistaken on this. It was one of the last matches before he left for a while and came back with the mask back on. But it was in 2011. It was Kane versus Orton in a street fight. And after the match, Kane shook Orton's hand, and that's what led up to the match at WrestleMania 28, because Kane basically said, "Why the hell would a monster shake your hand?"
Yeah.
And I was such a fan of what they were doing with Kane at the time, how he was basically battling his past and he came back. And when he came back, he absolutely obliterated Zack Ryder in a Falls Count Anywhere match and basically killed him. It was probably one of the most, if not the most one-sided match I've ever seen, because it lasted for a straight almost 10-15 minutes, and the whole time Zack Ryder got 2 punches off. And the rest of the time, it was Kane slamming his ribs into the announce table, choke slamming him through the actual stage floor. I mean, he put him in a wheelchair. I mean, that he completely obliterated him. But it made Kane look, like the original Kane, unstoppable, and that's why I liked what they were doing. And then his feud with Cena during that time was also pretty good, in my opinion.
I tell you, a match I love with Kane and always goes down. That's one of my favorite. Is him and Chavo Guerrero for the ECW championship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, he killed Chavo.
A Kane match that I really remember. A lot of it, almost every time he's been in Elimination Chamber, I feel like it's been a good one. But Kane it was the ladder match at WrestleMania 21. It was with Edge and Christian as well. And the whole match was just awesome. But Kane, was involved and it was a great match. And not to mention Kane's record in the Royal Rumble with the eliminations, and how good he does in the Rumbles. Or Kane's match against the Undertaker at the WrestleManias to try to beat the streak. He's had great matches. But
we would never talk about Saudi. Never speak of that.
No, that we're not going to talk about that. That I pretend that didn't exist.
You're right, because it didn't.
You're right. That didn't exist. Shawn Michaels has stayed retired.
Yeah, exactly. Triple H didn't hurt himself.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Kane's will always be one of my favorites. Always has a special place in my heart for me I was so addicted to him as a kid. And then when he became the Authority, I think that's when I was finally like, all right, well, this sucks. But he was getting older, so I understand, he probably didn't want to wear the mask anymore. He wouldn't want to wear the mask or the tights anymore. He changed to the nice little slack jeans, But yeah, Kane will always be Kane. He's always gonna be the big red machine. Hall of Famer as always. And I believe you met Kane at a Toys R Us once before.
Yes, I did. It was on a Tuesday morning. We had just opened the door. And for those why would you know, I am 6'4". So I'm a pretty big guy. And I was standing in the electronics section, and I saw a guy from the other side of the store, and he kept walking towards me. And I kept thinking to myself, geez, he's got to be tall, because I could tell he's tall from back there. And he kept walking closer. And this was the time after he took the mask off. So I'm like, God, that guy's ugly. Then I was like, holy crap, that guy's big and ugly. And he's bigger than me. And then it dawned on me, like, holy crap, that's Kane. And when we came almost eye to eye, I was like, oh, the first thing that came to my mind is like, Jesus, I'm a big guy. Because I could almost look Kane in the eye. So instead of being awestruck as Kane, I'm like, I'm a big guy. But he came in to buy he had just wrestled that night before. I can't remember where. I know it was towards the West Coast. So we're talking about that Tuesday morning, came in to buy a present for his daughter. He was so nice, so humble. I didn't want to bother him because I knew he just wrestled, and I didn't want to be the typical fan. Oh my God, you're Kane. Can you sign this? I just like, hey, how you doing? Can I help you with something? Got it. Rung him up. I was like, man, I love your work. He's like, appreciate it. Just really a humble guy. And like I said, my daughter at the time, she was working in a clothing store, dry cleaners, and he came in and she met him, and he was so nice. He took a picture with her, and the first thing she said, my dad is a big fan of yours, and if you don't mind, take a picture with me. He's like, no, not at all. And that's where the picture comes from.
Yeah, I've been told by many people that he's a really nice guy. And so we all respect Kane. I don't think I've ever heard a person I've never heard a person say they don't like Kane. Because he's always had that dark aura, and you've always wanted to be like, man, he's cool, but then also outside of wrestling, he's a nice guy.
Yes, he is.
So, but Kane is, if you haven't seen most of his matches from back then, go watch them on Peacock. They're awesome. Especially I'd love to, if you want to go watch like a match from each one of his like costume changes, like go watch a match from when he first debuted to when he changed to the different mask, to then change to when he had no mask, and then his new mask. And if you want to watch The Authority, go ahead. But that's but yeah. Plus, his theme song is one of my favorites. I love Slow Chemical, man. That plays all the time on my song. That I was addicted to that song. I don't know why they got rid of the words. I don't know why they got rid of it, man. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you want to hear us talk about anything else, go ahead, comment we'll do anything, any promotion, any character, any gimmick from any time, any generation. If you like Kane, if you like some of his matches, go ahead, put it in the comments. Tell us which ones you like. If you're a big fan, tell us. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.
I came from the UK. I can't and won't be stopped.
Come on, there you go. Get out there. Get out there. Get out!
And I will never give you a contract.
I tell you what, if you're going to start off, you want to start off with one of the big guys. And to prove yourself, you want to knock them out.
This is the Wrestling Society Network.